Hey, good morning there, Ragamuffins. I just yesterday I taught on faith of a child and how important that is to how we sense the world. And when those little spiders with their little roundup guns come around and spray the flowers that we use to sense the world, the effect of that. So I want to continue on that topic of the importance of our brain health in our faith walk. And so early on, I told you all that I had a very, God created a hunger in me to learn. And I also had a hunger to understand what had happened to me. When Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and we're trying to get the pieces back together again, it's important to understand why my body responded the way it did, um, and what was going on with me. Um, in brain talk, what happened to me was called a toxic rupture. So this book is called Anatomy of the Soul. Um, it was a very good book for me to read to understand our balance in our brain, because we have a left hemisphere and we have a right hemisphere. And so, in just simple talk, your left sided brain is where everything's organized, and your right side of the brain is where you feel everything. So, so in the Bible, for example, old Saul, King Saul, he was out of balance. He was angry. He And there was probably some dark forces involved there too, some spiritual stuff. But but I can imagine being the king of a nation, how stressful that would be. And and you think about those guys going to war and all that stuff, and people dying around him, and he was angry. And so whenever he would get angry, he would request that David come and play music for him. And so this is pretty interesting in Anatomy of the Soul. If you take a Bible and you open it up halfway, you can see it's pretty even there. You land right on the Psalms. So if we think about the Bible as a left side and a right side, the left side, for the most part, is where everything got organized. It was the law. Israel got established. The Jews established their settlement. They went to war. They did all this stuff. And so you've got the left side where everything's all organized. Over here on the right side, you've got love, law, love. And then right in the middle, there's a gap. So one of the important things that I drew from that is the importance of music. So think about Saul. When Saul got out of balance, he would call on David to come and play music for him. And it would open up the activity to hit the right side of his brain. So think about how peaceful we feel whenever we listen to some kind of music that's comforting to us. Um, so early on, whenever I was really, 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 really struggling 3 years ago or so, um, I read that, and I also read a book called The Body Keeps the Score. And The Body Keeps the Score was basically a description of a guy that's been a psychiatrist for like 50 or 60 years. I'll put some links to both of these books on the Facebook page, but he he worked in the psych wards back in the 60s. And if you've seen the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or maybe read the book, those people were really, really, their lives got destroyed by trying to force healing upon them whenever they've either had a rupture or maybe they were possessed. Maybe they were. There's a balance here, is what I'm saying. Is it's not all spiritual and it's not all brain science, but in this Body Keeps the Score book, it talked about how we sense the world around us. Earlier on, I told you that our body is just lined with neurons. Our spirit is located in our stomach. And how we sense the world is based on our experience in the world. So all of our cells in our body, our neurons, they record all the events of our lives, and we base things, our response, based on what our previous recordings were. And in order to recover some of those neural pathways that I told you all about in the last teaching about Faith of a Child, we have to do something to work through those and change the way we sense the world. And so one of the techniques in the Body Keeps the Score was what they call EMDR, and basically what that means is you recreate a balance. So there's several techniques of EMDR. Some local therapists, probably you could look up some local therapists and find out more information about that. But I decided to go through my own EMDR, kind of treat myself per se. And so since our left side of our brain controls things on the right side of our body, and the right side of our brain controls things on the left side of our body, in order to retrieve some balance, if you listen to music while you do something that activates both sides of your body, it creates a better balance. So I bought some sound canceling headphones, and I bought a Josh Turner gospel album, and I would walk. Between 30 minutes and an hour, sometimes twice a day. I was trying to attain a balance. And obviously there were some spiritual things going on there too. So I'm not discounting those at all. If y'all listen to that warfare video, you'll understand that there was more going on than just a rupture. There were spiritual things going on too. However, I was combining the two. I was listening to gospel music about God, and I was participating in something to restore balance in my brain, which was walking and listening to music and listening to Christian music and singing. So one of the coping mechanisms and ways to repair our brain was also in the Body Keeps the Score book. And if you think about the African American culture of their singing, well, some of that is rooted in a lot of the trauma that culture received over the years in slavery, where they would sing in the fields, and that was a way of coping. So what he talked about is the author of The Body Keeps the Score. He was in Africa, and there was women that had suffered through a lot of tragedies. And you guys can imagine, you've seen the videos, you've heard the stories about the war crimes that are committed over there, and the horrible things that happened to those folks over there. But one thing he noticed is that these women that had lived through these tragedies, they had some of them had limbs missing, some of them had been just through horrible things. They would just start singing suddenly, and he just noticed how happy it made them. Well, obviously, these folks in war-torn Africa, they don't have the access like we do to music, to to psychiatrists, to psychologists, to pastors, to whatever it is. And so they have their own way of dealing with it, which is singing. So while I was really struggling, I was listening to music and I was walking and I was singing out loud. I mean, there's probably some people at some parks that just thought, man, that guy's a horrible singer, but but it was what I did to try to work through things, and it helped me. It really did. It was something that I looked forward to all the time, to just feel good. And it's an active pursuit. It's not a once a week go to church for an hour and sing old hymns and then don't do anything the rest of the week to help your balance. So anyways, the Anatomy of the Soul, back on that book. So you've got the left side of your brain, you got the right side of your brain, you got your Psalms in the middle, and the Psalms are the gap. The Psalms are the songs that we sing in our heart, are what help create a balance in our life. And you can either be way over here on the left and be legal and miserable and everybody doesn't like you around you, or you can be way over here on the right where you can be all messy and emotional and sloppy and creative and all the above, and everybody's like, oh, I can't depend on them for anything because they can't keep a schedule and they can't do this and they can't do that. So balance. And that's the message today is balance. And how do we find that balance? And we've got to do both, right? Because we've got to provide for our families, and we've got to live in this society. And if you want to be all the way on the right all the time, and you can be one of those spiritual people that just kind of roam around and paint pictures and make music, that's fantastic. But us ragamuffins that are, working this 40 to 80 hour a week job, we got to have a balance. And I think that's what we got to do. We have to engage in something. So a friend of mine around the corner from me, he said that the monks had a balance in their life. And they said that the morning is for your mind, the afternoon is for your body, and the evening is for your heart. So morning, mind, afternoon, body, evening, your heart. So if you try to engage those three things equally, it creates a balance. I really like that. So it changed the way in the mornings, I engage in stuff that are challenging for my mind early in the morning. And it's not all just one perfect cookie cutter. I'm not saying that at all, but the morning is when I sense the Lord the most, when everything is fresh, and I engage in some kind of reading, I engage in some kind of prayer, just get everything quiet. The afternoon is when I do my workouts, and lift weights, aerobic, whatever it may be. And in the evenings, I try to watch stuff on TV or watch shows or read books that are good for my heart. So not a perfect balance by any means. I'm not a monk, but it's a good way to think about it. So those two books, Body Keeps the Score, Anatomy of the Soul, were both very good books for me to help understand how to attain a balance. And I think it's very important to sense God, because if you've been through a hard time, you've had some traumatic experiences in your life, and we all have them. In order to sense God more, we have to work through those things. And because I don't know who wouldn't want to hear from God. When you get just a little dose of him, when you're down in the dumps and on hard times, it created a hunger in me to just want to know him. And this world is tough, and it's hard on our bodies, it's hard on our minds, it's hard on our hearts. And if you want to educate yourself a little bit, these two books were very foundational for me. And I've by far and away, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I haven't got it all figured out, but I recovered. I feel good. I love God. I'm getting to know him more every day. And so running up on 15 minutes here. I'm going to pray us out here real quick. And I hope this has been valuable for you today. So, hey, Lord, good morning. Thank you for balance. Thank you for our ability to sense you. Thank you for healing. And Lord, just bless whoever's listening today. Thank you for the courage that you've given me to do these videos and to share my testimony of you and the healing that I've received. So grateful for you. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Hey, y'all, love you. Have a great day. Make it a good Monday.